There are 9 simple steps to total cooking confidence and total cooking freedom. It's how you go about cooking anything for any diet or any desire. And I'm going to show you those 9 steps today on the Carefree Cooks Code. I'm Chef Todd Moore, and this is the Carefree Cooks Code, every Tuesday live at noon Eastern. Here's our challenge. How can home cooks cook freely with creativity, confidence, and pride while ignoring recipes and still impressing themselves and others with what they cook? Well, the answer is found in becoming empowered with how cooking works, using dependable and repeatable methods of cooking that work for any ingredient, for any diet, and any desire, just like chefs do. And we'll know we've cracked it when everyone sees cooking as an exciting and rewarding way to improve their relationships, their lifestyles, and their health through better food and cooking. This is the Carefree Cooks Code. Hey, welcome back to the Carefree Cooks Code, everyone. This is the weekly show for the methods, the techniques, and the insights into better food and cooking. We're live every Tuesday at noon Eastern. If you want to find some of the past videos, go to the archive on Facebook, facebook.com/chef.todd.more/videos. Here we are together 2 times a week live for the public. An extra one for lifetime members of Carefree Cooks who are lifetime members of web cooking classes, first Wednesday of each month. And if you want to see what I'm cooking while we're not together live and have me describe how I did it, follow Chef Todd Moore on Instagram as well. This, by the way, my cooking has gotten better, and I don't know about you, but I've 57 weeks now, I've cooked every single thing. Anyway, this is blackened rockfish that I seared in clarified butter, finished in the oven. Sweet and spicy Brussels sprouts that were sauteed in butter and then honey, mustard, and sriracha sauce. And I really wanted to have shrimp and grits for dinner, but it turned into a side dish. So a shrimp and grits side dish. It was such a great meal. Fresh rockfish here on the northern neck of Virginia. How do I just whip things up like that? Well, I'm a carefree cook. I create my own recipes. I bring friends and family together. I learn every time I cook. I create my own cooking style because I practice pro methods, and you wind up loving your cooking if you do that. Hey, everybody. I'm so glad we're together again. It's a Tuesday. I'm getting my second shot today, so I'm going to be really happy about that. So let's just get started right away. I've got a true or false for you today. True or false, tell me in the comments section below. There are 764 teaspoons in a gallon. 764 teaspoons in a gallon. Don't you wish you were a Canadian now? All right, or in the UK. I don't know why we use this antiquated empirical formula. Okay, comment section below, true or false. There are 764 teaspoons in a gallon. All right, look, we're continuing along this path. I think I say it every Tuesday. I am dead serious about helping you improve your cooking this year. And in just about every Carefree Cooks Code episode that we get together on Tuesdays at noon, I try to help you move your culinary journey forward. I am dedicated and remain dedicated to creating as many Carefree Cooks as I can this year, and today's episode might be the most powerful lesson that I can possibly bring you. Now, if you are already involved in web cooking classes, you're familiar with what I'm going to show you today. If you're not, this is going to change your cooking forever. If you have heard these 9 steps before, hearing them again is going to give you a whole new idea. It happens every time you hear it. It's like a great Paul Simon song or something. Look, I've been using these steps for years, and I've seen how it opens minds. And I see how it changes your cooking from being a recipe follower to being totally in command, and then this opens up all the creativity and the possibilities in your cooking. Again, for any ingredient, it works. For any diet, it works. For any desire, it works. This is the way to cook freely with confidence and creativity, because the very first method that I teach students in culinary school or in my web cooking classes curriculum, it's the basic saute method. And there are 9 steps in the basic saute method. They are dependable, they're repeatable, so you can just plug in any combination of ingredients that are appropriate for your diet or just the ones you really, really like at that point. So, before I get into this and show you how it works for any diet or any desire, I want to ask you a question. What if the way you cooked was exactly the same each time? This is one of the biggest frustrations for home cooks because one recipe says do this, one recipe says do that. First do that, then do this. First do this, then do that. It's mind-boggling, and it's no wonder people hate cooking, and it's because of recipes. I've been saying this for at least a dozen years, but what if you could repeat the same 9 steps in cooking over and over and over again and only change the ingredients? What if there was only one way to cook? Right? Not a confusing 100 ways, one way to cook, and you do the same thing again and again. Well, then you would be confident in how to cook because there's only one way to cook, and you would have practiced it every single time you went to cook. And you can be confident that anything you cook is going to be delicious because you use the ingredients that you want and you have a dependable way to cook it, okay? This is this fantasy world that I'm talking about now. Plugging in any ingredient into a dependable method means you never have to run to the grocery store for that missing ingredient that the recipe is commanding you to buy. Nobody tells you to go to the recipe store or go to the grocery store like the recipe does, right? Well, when I first opened my cooking school, I offered a free cooking class. We had a little ad in the newspaper. I think it was free. It was ironic, a free class and a free ad because we couldn't afford any advertising back then. But it was a little ad in the local pad, free cooking class. And I offered a 30-minute cooking demonstration. And we all sat around the bar in my catering hall. We had a glass of wine afterward. I hope it wasn't the wine that sold the cooking class. But what I knew is I had to keep it short. And I only had 30 minutes to grab these people. I obviously wanted them to sign up for classes in my school, right? I wanted them to be so inspired during my demonstration that they would adopt my philosophy, because that's what my cooking school was when I was teaching 1 and 3 people at a time back 12, 13, 14 years, 15 years ago. It was really to get this philosophy in front of people, the philosophy about cooking by method. And I know most of them had probably been to other cooking classes at the mall store or a local Italian market. And usually what you get there is you get a recipe and then you learn how to cook that recipe. And I often had people arrive in my cooking school, which is all about methods, and they would ask for the recipe. First thing, hey, can I get a copy of the recipe? And I would just offhandedly go, there's no recipe. They would gasp. I would watch their eyes like, this can't be. No recipe. How can that be? So they're already perplexed coming for this free 30-minute demo. And I knew that I had to make the biggest impact on them that I could in 30 minutes or less. And I can't spend time giving them a fish. That's what a recipe is, giving you a fish. I need to teach them how to fish, right? You know that analogy. If I demonstrate a recipe, that's giving you a fish. But when I show you how a recipe works, then you know how to fish. And I would always start these classes with the 9 steps in the basic saute method. This is exactly what I taught in my cooking school demonstrations, what I taught in the school, how I taught tomorrow's chefs in culinary college, and what became the basis for the web cooking classes curriculum, because no matter where I worked, in the largest kitchens or what level I taught, the cooking was always the same. It was the food that changed. It was the equipment that changed. It was the large paddle that you stirred with. But look, this is the key to cooking. Having a dependable method, no matter what the ingredient or the number of people you're cooking for. So listen carefully, because here's how the repeatable method goes. Pan hot first. Most home cooks make this mistake right off the bat. You can't cook with the intense heat, conductive heat on the stovetop with a cold pan. You got to add some fat. You got to have a transfer of that heat from the pan to the food, and it doesn't matter what the fat is. If the recipe tells you one fat, use whatever you want. But here's another part that home cooks miss all the time. Fat hot. you have to heat that fat. It's a transfer for the heat, and you need to learn to recognize the signs that the fat will tell you when it's ready to cook or too hot and you've gone too far. Then you add what you're cooking. I call it a protein product, but this is where everything from hamburgers to tofu comes in. Cook it mostly on the show side. Don't worry so much about the no side. Remove the item and rest it on a plate. Now's the time you add your aromatics like onions and garlic and carrots and leeks and peppers, anything you want. Then you stop the cooking by adding a room temperature cold liquid like wine or a broth. You then have the decision to thicken or reduce that sauce to make a pan sauce, then return the item to finish cooking in the sauce. And there it is. Those are the 9 steps in the basic sauté method that can be used again and again for an endless number of dishes. And when I demonstrate the basic sauté method in my classes, I normally make my now infamous South of France chicken dish. That's what I used to make in the cooking school demonstrations. Thousands, I think, seriously, tens of thousands of people have learned to cook just by following this one method and copying my South of France chicken, but then changing the ingredients for their desires and hopefully changing the name too, because let's be honest, it's not the greatest name. But all right, so here's how it goes. I'll show you how I do it. I get the pan, right? Get the pan hot first. And you tell this by splashing a little water in your hand. I'll add some olive oil to the pan, any kind of fat you want. And I wait to see when the olive oil tells me it's time to start cooking. I saute the chicken breast, mostly on the show side, and then I remove it to a plate. Then I'll add shallots. I'll saute them around a little bit, deglaze with some white wine. I reduce the wine and add some whole grain mustard, add some goat cheese to thicken the sauce, and there it is. Return the chicken to the pan and cook the chicken in the moist method in the pan sauce, and that's 9 steps, and I've got an original dish. Cool, right? You see how easy that is to just like duplicate a method over and over again? You like that? No? Am I getting thumbs up or not? Oh, who gave me the angry face? All right. Look, all right, smarty. Okay, if you don't like my South of France chicken, how about we go with South of Mexico chicken? Pan hot first. Same steps. Pan hot first, some kind of fat hot. Sear the chicken, remove it to the plate, but now I'm going to add onions. I'm going to add jalapenos. I'll deglaze with tequila or margarita mix or lime juice. Just add a few scoops of jarred salsa, and there you go. You got South of Mexico chicken. Using the same 9 steps in sauté, you've really crossed an ocean there. So who wants to make South of Mexico chicken tonight? I bet you have those ingredients in your pantry right now. Thumbs up? Hearts? Please don't tell me there's an angry face, all right? Because if you're not impressed by that, how about South of Italy chicken? We'll go through the same 6 steps of the basic sauté method again, but this time we'll use garlic. We'll deglaze with red wine. I'll add diced tomatoes to it and maybe thicken it with ricotta cheese or something. South of Italy chicken. Everybody loves Italian food, right? Don't you think that making up your own Italian dish sounds really, really cool? No? Come on, you're not impressed by that? All right, how about South of Hawaii chicken? We'll use ginger instead. We'll deglaze the pan with pineapple juice. We'll add pineapple chunks in there as well. I don't know. How about Indonesian chicken? Ginger and garlic for our aromatics. Deglaze with coconut milk this time. Thicken it with peanut butter. Oh my goodness, that's one of my favorites. Some spicy red pepper flakes or sriracha. If you're not impressed by that, how about South of Greece chicken? Pan hot first, some kind of fat hot. Chicken, saute olives and onions. Deglaze with sambuca. Thicken it with feta cheese. How about German chicken? South of Germany chicken. Saute onions. Saute mushrooms, deglaze with chicken broth, thicken it with sour cream, right? Then you can make chicken marsala using onions and garlic and marsala wine to deglaze and thicken the pan. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot about my vegetarian friends. This isn't all about chicken. I get this a lot. Hey, Chef Todd, can the saute method be used for vegetarians also? Yeah, sure. Forget about the chicken. Forget I ever mentioned chicken. With the very same method, you can do tofu, tempeh, falafel, south of France tofu, south of France, south of Mexico falafel. I don't know. Look, now everybody can use the basic saute method because it works for just about any food, for any diet, or any desire. But now I know what you're thinking. You're still a little skeptical. Gee, Chef Todd, can I really cook anything I want using the same method again and again? Okay, but there's some limitations. You can't cook a whole turkey this way in a saute pan. It's not going to work. It's meant for things that are thinner, that are generally already tender. Then you can move into some combination methods. But for now, yes, you can. Yes, anything that's in your pantry right now that is a protein or mushroom or your main item with your aromatics, with a flavorful liquid to deglaze and some way to thicken that sauce, it's 9 steps. Chef Todd, can I use the basic saute method to cook in all different styles? Well, certainly wouldn't you need 10 recipes to cook in 10 different styles? No, wrong. You only need one method to cook in all those international styles that I showed you about. Because a recipe only shows you how to cook one thing. But repeatable methods enable you to cook all things. Who cares if it's not authentic paella, or if it's not Grandma Noni's carbonara sauce, If it's good to you, then it's good. Don't let anybody else tell you if your cooking is good or not. If it's delicious to you and your family, I don't care how you got there. But you should be cooking for your goals, what you want to eat, your health goals, your family's goals, not the goals of a cookbook author whose, honestly, goals is to sell a cookbook. Let's be honest. Look, that's the old way of cooking. And the old way of cooking is starting to seem a little backward about now, right? Instead of letting the recipe tell you what to cook, why don't you cook with one method that you're confident in and then make up your own recipe? Doesn't that make more sense to you? Instead of reading the list of ingredients and try and figure out how to do it, know how to do it, and then make up the list of ingredients. And the only reason that I'm able to cook for any diet or any desire or any ethnic profile or just dream something up is because I'm confident in the dependable and repeatable methods of cooking. Now, there is more than one. There is more than one cooking method, basic saute, but it all comes down to, it's not what you cook, it's how you cook that makes you truly free in the kitchen. And then from there, you learn others. So start with this one method. Start with these 9 steps or any other way that you like to cook. But concentrate on how you cook, the repeatable methods, the things that you do over and over again. And then you can forget about cooking with a clock, right? How long you cook something is the worst way to cook. But yet every recipe starts out with 3 to 5 minutes or whatever. Look, once you recognize the changes in food and you start cooking with your eyes, then you'll be ready for another step-by-step method to make it easier. Because again, saute is not the only way to cook. There's about a dozen more dependable, repeatable cooking methods that you can expand your repertoire with. And you start braising. You start poaching or simmering. You start with combination methods, stewing methods to take the ingredients and get to the result that you want. And that's the idea of focusing on how you impart heat to food rather than the food and then what you're going to do with it, right? Know what you're going to do, and then it doesn't matter which food I do it to, okay? Let's check in with our Carefree Cooks community, and let's see who is using the fastest, easiest, most pride-provoking method to create great family meals. Who do we got today? Oh, Bill. Bill and I are thinking a lot alike. I was talking about shrimp and grits. It's just, for some reason, I was dying to have shrimp and grits. I saw in my local farmer's market nearby, like local stone ground grits. And those of you that don't know, it's a cornmeal product. if you take a fresh kernel of corn and squeeze it, and a little white thing comes out, that's basically the grit. And they get dried, and then you reconstitute them. It's a breakfast item here in the U.S. You mix it with cheese or bacon or sausage or something. It's very, very good. But as an entree, you mix it with shrimp. And so Bill's gets a crispy, smoky bacon, too, garnished with bacon. I might have to try that. Good idea, Bill. Dana started out making the pork adobo that's in my Dinner Done course. But she says along the way, she got about halfway and she tweaked it. She just said she tweaked it. In the end, she said, I'm not sure what I got, but it sure was good. That to me is a huge success. Like, I think there's serendipity to it, because when people go, oh, I threw this in and then I threw that in and then I changed my mind and I decided to do this and I don't know what it is, but it's delicious. It's a huge success. And you know what? If you're never able to make it again, Dana, that in itself is great. Go make something else that is amazing for that one night. Jason knows how to use direct heat. He's got all kinds of equipment out there, wherever he is. I don't know. He knows how to saute. I'm sure he knows how to stir fry, because he's got this flat top griddle that I'm so jealous of. You can get a lot done on that thing. Really nice direct heat. Look at all those colorful veggies and stuff. God, I wish I had a flat top. Nicely done, Jason. Good. Colette put a nice caramel color on those scallops, didn't she? That's a sure sign of skillful heat control. Something as delicate as scallops, if you can get them brown but not rubbery, nice. But what I found really interesting about this, she used pomegranate juice, cucumbers, citrus juice. It's a really interesting dish. Nicely done, Colette. Mary, she's got some nice looking shrimp here in the saute pan with garlic and butter. I mean, come on. Garlic, butter, shrimp in a saute pan. That's the start of a lot of great meals. But she goes ahead and finishes it with some spaghetti and Parmesan cheese. That had to be simple, quick, easy, still using the 9 steps in basic saute. Nicely done, everybody. All our Carefree cooks. I love reading about our growing Carefree cooks community and how they're enjoying freedom and creativity in their kitchen. But look, my work is not done yet. My work may never be done. There are always recipe following, clock watching, oven timer obsessives that I need to get out there and convert into confident and creative cooks through dependable methods. That's my mission. Okay, this might not have been fair. I threw a tricky math problem at you today. I guess I got all involved in culinary school. So here's how it goes. In culinary school, I teach 3 teak, 4 teat. Okay, 3 TIQ, 4 TIT. 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, 4 tablespoons in a quarter cup. 3 tit, 4 teak. That's the way it is. 3 teaspoons in tablespoon, 4 tablespoons in quarter cup. So follow me with this math if you want. This is why it's so preposterous. 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, right? So we start out with 3 times 4 tablespoons in a quarter cup. That gives us 12. Times 4 quarter cups in a cup, 4 quarter cups in a 1 cup, obviously, times 4 cups in a quart, times 4 quarts in a gallon. So the answer is actually 768. So technically the answer is false by 4 teaspoons. That was one of those dicky kind of things I would do in culinary school. It sounds right, and especially on a multiple choice test, the multiple choices would have been like 764, 66, 68, or 5. And you'd be surprised. People picked 5. It is really, really something. Hey, look, if you know someone who would benefit from a whole new perspective on cooking, where how you cook really empowers you and helps you choose the what to cook so that you can be confident that everything turns out perfectly and you're prideful in your cooking, please love, please share this video with them so they can start cooking as well as you do. Unless, of course, you're a jealous person, then you might want to keep it all to yourself and not tell them about how good you're cooking. But if you've been struggling, if you've been stuck in a rut with the same meals, with the limited variety, then take what I've shown you today, a dependable, repeatable method, and apply it with this new class that you are going to love. This is this week's free online class because it combines the step-by-step cooking methods with creative ideas that are really going to get your juices going. The class is called The Meal Multiplier Formula to Get Dinner Done, and I share my 6-element formula for inventing meals on the fly, and you can choose from the upcoming classes when you go to webcookingclasses.com/multiply. So until next Tuesday, see ya everyone. This is Chef Todd Moore reminding you that there's actually a 9-step method to your cooking success. Bye everyone.